Check, check.
Hello, hi.
All right, here we are, finally. Last panel of the day, and we are so happy to be here. The event, thank you so much, David, and all the organizers here. It was such a lovely event, and it will be also a lovely evening, I'm pretty sure. And there was some amazing and interesting panels the whole day, tomorrow as well. And we are here bringing something a bit different, right? You have heard about coins and all like liquidity, trading, etc. And now we're going a bit more onto the degen stuff, the culture stuff that drives also the rest of crypto, right? So here I have my speakers, and I would like guys to introduce yourself to the public. I'll start from you because you're the tallest one. Carlitos, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Carlitos Way on X. I'm Spanish-German, and I've been creating content on X basically since late 2021. And I've dabbed my fingers, I think, basically everywhere in the Ethereum space, from NFTs to DeFi to meme coins and whatnot. And yeah, here I am.
Thank you so much.
Hey
Yeah,
guys, I'm Edo, Milano to everyone. Thank you again for hosting this event. Thanks also for having us on this panel, having me. I'm Edo. I'm leading marketing at Galxe. We're a Web3 growth platform. And yeah, we do a lot of services from token distribution to analytics, campaigns, digital identity. And yeah, I've started my journey in crypto as a tourist in 2018. I guess like most of us have done, just trying to understand what was going on in the space, and was fortunate enough to dabble through the pre-COVID and COVID season, a very obscure season, I guess, for all of us. And yeah, managed to turn it in a full-time job, and I've been helping out brands with marketing, socials, and everything related to that. So yeah, again, great for having me.
Thank you so much, Edo. Pierre?
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thanks for having us. My name is Pierre, 1K Pierre on Twitter. I'm a lady, and that's it.
Fair enough. Fifi, GM.
Yeah, it's hard to do as good as him, but I'll try. I'm Fifi, I'm a French entrepreneur, and I joined the space in 2019. And what you said about the crazy times of that day, talk to me. Yeah, first through DeFi, then I really got into like DAO, the DAO concept, and I tried to practice it as much as possible, and I ended up joining the Pudgy Penguins community and getting more and more involved. And today I lead Pudgy Europe, which is basically organizing events like yesterday, if you were there at the opening party, and just spreading the vibes of Web3 in Europe through Pudgy Penguins.
Love that. Who was there yesterday at the event? Pudgy Penguin event? There you go, we have quite a few.
Thank you.
Wow, you woke up. That's crazy. No, it's lovely to meet you all. Kaito here. I started with Metaverse, big outlet on Instagram about tech and news, and then definitely moved towards building some NFT communities, some of the most successful launches on Abstract, and also in previous times I joined the Pudgy Penguin community, I joined the Zuki community, and probably too many NFT communities, but that's where culture really moves, at least obviously on our experience. I would like for this panel to feel like a Twitter space, right? Because we are talking about culture, and culture moves also through that. So if you, at any time, if you have a question or something to say, feel free to raise your hand and I'll bring myself the mic to you. So feel free to do that. We are here sharing our experiences, and we are here sharing something that could inspire you to do, to dive a bit more into the world of culture and etc. in crypto. Now, let's go right into the topic. I have here the topics because I want to ask you some personal questions at a certain point, but let's start from this. What do you guys think is the role of culture in crypto? Any of you can take it first.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Culture is the operating system of crypto. It's like you need to have shared values and shared ideas to have a growing community, and crypto is mostly a social game, so you need to have people that believe in the same thing in order to gather a community around and create a culture. It's like you cannot force a culture. A culture creates around some ideas and some values, so people come across the culture and join the culture. You cannot shove the culture down the throat of the people. I think that's how the most successful communities get created, because they have these shared ideas and they have these shared values, the core ethos of crypto, and that's mostly it.
Wonderful.
I guess just to add on to Pierre, and I think what he said on the values and the core essence, I think it can take a lot of different subcultures in crypto, and there's a lot of different streams. But I think most of us, and happy to hear your experience, I think most of us who got involved in the space was because of sort of the initial culture that came through, you know, early on with the Bitcoin movement, the initial idea of digital freedom, and being able to permissionlessly be able to send value across. But also around, you know, and then we're getting into some of the more DNA of some subcultures, but also with, like, you know, self-sovereignty and censorship resistance and all of that. But I think it's always important, because, you know, it's always a lot of fun and games when we talk about culture and crypto and everything that comes around it, but also to highlight sort of some of the grounding principles that maybe now we're seeing are sort of converging with different other aspects of you know, of the space. But yeah, just wanted to share that.
I love that. Carlitos, Fifi, feel free to...
No, I don't think I have much to add to that. Like, those points are very good, and you have to have a common set of values and understanding that probably evolves into culture at a certain point. So that's the condensed version of what you two said, I think.
I love that. I want to ask something to everyone here. How many of you are part of at least one community? Raise your hands, at least one. Okay, fair enough. There you are. So most of the people here are part of a community, which means that they are part somehow of a culture. Obviously, not all communities become culture, because some are driven by not shared ideals or whatever, but probably more transactional, like kind of like feelings, vibes, etc. So I want to ask you guys, or at least to ask to everyone, and, you know, pose this kind of like curiosity in your head, like, do you think that cult and culture are different or are the same thing? And if so, when does a community become toxic in that way? And I'm asking this because there is a common enemy for everyone here. You can be in NFTs, you can be in DeFi, you can be in whatever, in gaming, whatever you are, but you have a common enemy, which is retention, which is user retention, which is user onboarding, and that's where most of the crypto companies fail. So most of us here actually work to tackle that, to make you believe in yourself in first place, to go out there and outreach people and onboard in outreach. That's one of the strongest ways to onboard people. We usually see crypto companies accelerating, raising a lot of money, and then have no users because they're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm cool. Why nobody comes to me, right? And we have so many valid examples, but I'll jump on that later. So, community. And I will start with you, Carlito, because you have seen that as a creator on the timeline, as a KOL. You have seen that, the toxic part of it and the good part of it, right? So how can a company make sure to keep the culture relevant, but also ensure a healthy growth rather than a toxic growth?
It's a very great question, and I think there is a lot of different ways also on how to tackle this. If you look at NFTs, for example, I think it's one of the best examples for culture in our space, and also there is examples of what a cult is, right? So the big difference there is that in a cult you follow a person and you're not allowed basically to second thought or like ask any questions, you just follow like a sheep. In a culture, you share the same values and culture and principles of how things should be working. So that distinction, I think, is very important, and once you want to succeed with your project, you should be pretty open and transparent, I think, in the whole process, and don't shame anybody for leaving your project because there's multiple reasons, right? You might need the money, you might think there's a lot of different ways how to evolve in the future. So I think it's important to keep an open mind and a respect towards anybody in your community and not shame or hate upon anybody.
Love that answer. We are freestyling, by the way. This is chaos. When you bring chaos somewhere, you see the people for who they really are. So that's my strategy also in community building, to be honest. So that was a very lovely answer. Anyone else wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I think at the core of a community building, you need to have a core community. The guys who are going to be maybe cult-like, and in some moments they will maybe look toxic to the outside because they will sometimes go the wrong ways. They will shame someone, but at the end of the day, it's by having, let's say, a strong core of people with values that go throughout time. You know, people who have been there for years, that you can manage to really build culture. Otherwise, you're just jumping from narrative to narrative, and it doesn't aggregate. And in the end, some of these, let's say, cult-like people will not be the most visible because they will not need to be in the front line. Thinking about the Pudgy history, it's when we were very down bad and like suffering that the strong community came up and made the project survive despite having no team, basically, and no company. And that's why we are still here today. So you can try and blame this cult-like, let's say, phenomenon that appears, but at the end of the day, you need it. So it's always a balance to find, to have a culture that's welcoming. That means if you don't have the NFT, it doesn't matter, like for an event or to just join people and discover Web3 through one of the many communities. But at the same time, you need strong believers, and people will maybe go above a certain level to still like keep the ship alive.
Lovely. And it makes me think about Luca Netz, because he's the first founder that I've seen in crypto who has an onboarding video pinned as main post on his X profile. I think no founder does that, which is absolutely crazy to a certain degree. But it's something that speaks about the onboarding funnel. And the onboarding funnel starts with the community, because it starts with the word of mouth that shares the alpha, that shares the intention, that shares the mission and the vision and the values. So really love what you brought up. And before going to the next segment, which is going to be marketing related, I want to ask you one more thing, guys. Will ever culture go beyond utility? And when did that happen? Because it happened. But in NFTs, I would like to keep it like broad to the world crypto, because I think it happened a few times. I know it's not easy. I'm dropping them.
I think probably one of the best examples on this is what Fifi just said and what he and his team are doing with Pudgy Europe, right? There is no Luca or anybody on top telling him what to do or like what he wants Pudgy Europe to be. You develop these goals, these ideas from within your community. You organize events, you bring people together, and I think this is literally what culture is.
Spot on. And I remember also some topics and conversation that I had also during these days, right? When we talk about NFTs, and this is not an NFT panel. These are NFT degens, but it's not an NFT panel. But the point is, we always focus on utility or floor price or, price action, etc. But when you build a community and a culture around your product, around your mission and vision, you get people that sees beyond that. And when you get that, you get the strongest opportunity that you have in your life to make your crypto brand or company really fly. So beautiful points. I don't know if anyone else wanted to share anything.
Can I?
Please.
I think it's also important to note how communities get naturally aggregate around culture, It's like, it's hard to think of community as, oh, we have this, please join us, please be part of our community. I think there is, in some part, also a little bit of a need to gatekeep sometimes to make sure that people understand what are the values and the things that culture is trying to push forward. I think it's very important to think in that regard. Is like, do you wear the PFP? That's beautiful. Milady Post, that's beautiful. But also, do you understand like what is the corridas? What is that we're trying to push forward? It's like, do you understand sensor resistance chip? Do you understand privacy? Do you understand security? And it's very important to embrace the culture in that sense, because it creates a stronger sense of community, and it allows people to forge bonds. And when you forge bonds, and it comes naturally, the community becomes culturally relevant. that's how they become also culturally dominant. That's how, you know, you get people to come and be, oh, I want to be a part of what you're doing, you know, rather than please come and join us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can we give a round of like claps to? It's not easy to be on stage, so I want to activate you as well. Like, let's. There you are. Yeah. No, because I get it. It's not easy to be on stage, right? And to get thrown this madness from me. So.
What do you mean? This is my second blood. I do this every day.
The KOL, you see, you can tell who's a KOL. No, but it's amazing that you guys are sharing this, because again, we are not just some random picked up people like from outside out there. It's our work has contributed to create communities, to make millions for crypto companies, and to launch beautiful products that are still alive, thankfully, and are still there dominating. So it's something that I really deeply appreciate from a personal point of view. I want to jump into marketing, right? Because obviously community, culture, it's tied to marketing, and marketing actually is probably the tree of this all. And I want to start with another tough question. Is attention harder to retain right now on the timeline, on LinkedIn, on whatever social you're using for crypto companies? Is it tougher or is it simpler, in your opinion?
I can kick in.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously tougher because there's so many more projects and people that want to break in. If you think about past cycles, I mean, you've obviously had a lot of different projects, but that has just increased a lot. And then I think through this cycle, we've seen kind of like the attention, especially on CT around like, you know, InfoFi Kaito had a really big run, and that sort of brought up a whole can of worms. And now we're actually seeing X kind of trying to launch their own creator platform. So that's going to be interesting. Basically, they basically killed InfoFi, but kind of doing it on their own right now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I do think it's really hard. But I also want to say that at the end of the day, attention is great, but it's also very fleeting. And especially a lot of like these, you know, there's a lot of far west kind of behavior in crypto where there's like a lot of copy pasta projects, and they're trying to do like the same thing, but you know, that could work out for some time and you could have a really cool successful campaign, but if like the product is not great, that's just not gonna stick with the users, and it's just gonna keep going on. And I think especially in the cycle, having not seen this like whole altcoin season that everyone was expecting, we've maybe reached a point where we don't see that to the same extent, but who knows, we'll see.
Amazingly said. Please.
The way I see it, attention is a currency, and we all basically have the memory of a fruit fly, or the attention of a fruit fly, a couple of seconds, and you literally need to fight for that if you want to push your project. You can do that fully organically, but probably nobody will give one fuck about your project and you because they don't know you. So you need a couple of KOLs, and you can do this also in a negative way, I would say, botting your account and taking other shortcuts. So it's a bit of a, I would say, principle decision, what you want to stand for, what you want to represent, and then there is multiple paths on how to tackle this.
You said something very strong, which was not the swear word, was what you said next about you know, botting and you know, all that kind of like fake engagement, which may help some people and companies to raise their money non-FLS, but leaves you with no user on your socials, on your community platforms, etc., etc. So I didn't want to do this. I promised to myself I won't do this, but I will do it. I will ask you, what are like some common mistakes, such as this one, for companies, right? And I want to highlight the mistakes because they should be considered enemies to your company. And they're not, right? They're the easy way to get to the money, right? While if you really believe in what you're building, you should know that these are enemies. So you named one, which is botting. What's there? And this may be also tied to some companies and agencies that like play this, right? Like that they like this game and they keep playing this game. So obviously, I'm not asking you to make names. I'm just, but I'm asking you guys, like, if you would like to highlight any, you know, wrongdoing that that some companies or whoever is listening from a company now should take as a pure enemy and do a crusade against?
So I would maybe add to that that you should literally do a lot of research on who is representing your company, be that your team, be that the KOLs, be that whoever that is, and make sure that they understand the product, that they are aligned with your company culture and all of these things, and make also sure that this is something rather long-term and that somehow matches the interest of that person. So make sure it's organic, make sure it's somehow reciprocal, so it doesn't go only one way. And as I said, make sure that you fight for the attention in a hopefully organic way. You can screw it up in 1,000 ways with likes for likes farms and botting. I could go on all day about this, and I don't really want to talk about it. So I'll pass the mic on to somebody else.
No, I think also one point is to be authentic in your approach, and especially when you're trying to get closer to some communities, not just farm them, promise them things which you won't deliver, pretending to be close from, I don't know, they will name 10 different meme coins and 10 different NFTs and say, we are here for you, and actually let's say the CEO doesn't even know what these are, and he won't even be part of those communities, and it's just a way to piss people off. Like, especially if you're aiming at the crypto native, don't try and pretend you know what we're doing. Just come and chat with us, and then you will know how to actually embark these communities, rather than just try and farm us.
I remember last year was a dead year for DeFi. I'm gonna just go for it. I've worked with an agency, and we were receiving these clients. Everything was going well. Content was like, retweeted and like liked on YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. Like, they had so much engagement. So many of them, at least 3 or 4 companies. At launch, at TGE, the people all disappeared. Like, boom. So I know, and I don't want to talk of what's bad, right? I want to talk of what we should do right. But I like also to find that common enemy, as any culture should have, and really push that forward. Because it's too many times we stay silent, too many times we avoid to talk like the tough topics, but it's something that we can do because we are the last panel, so we can do it. And everyone here is in our community, so that's more than fair. Now, I got a few personal questions, right? I'm gonna start with Edo. I'm gonna read them because obviously I did the research on their lives, so I know everything about you guys. You cannot lie. Edo, from Galxe experience, working closely with ecosystem and communities at scale, what actually goes into building effective campaigns today, and what separates campaigns that generally help communities grow from those that simply farm short-term attention? And this is the question that will connect all the dots that we talked about.
Yeah, a great question, and especially because this is kind of like a taboo topic, right? For us who are working in the space, we always have kind of this element that we need to fight on a day-to-day basis, especially as you mentioned before, after kind of like token drops, that is the unfortunate reality. But I think that reality most of the time is linked because it's not actually like a marketing problem. It's a marketing wrapping problem, in the sense that the product has been wrapped into this marketing campaign, but it's the actual product which is the issue that they're going to market with. Again, a project which maybe doesn't have any substance, or they're ultimately not really solving a problem. So that particular target audience is there because they know about the incentives. They know the crypto game in this sort of circumstance. So they're there to, do what they do and then move on to the next one. So it really, you really need to make sure that the product has a common ground with your user base, and you actually know who your real kind of users. So at the start, really having like feedback loops with your core, let's say, community on a product side, so that they're actually using your product. And obviously, like, there's different type of projects, different type of products, so everything's a bit different. You can't really bucket everything into one segment. That's really hard to do. But I would say that's the first thing. And then in terms of like successful launches, like I've seen a lot of cool campaigns which were really interactive, really engaging, you know, multi kind of seasonal campaigns. But then at the end of the day, the only thing that people really wanted was that kind of drop. Having that kind of knowledge to mind, I think something which is really useful is to have like strong Sybil prevention methods and anti-Sybils, because yeah, most of these users know how to play the game, so they'll try to break through and try to farm as much as possible. So I would say those two things. So really trying to cook something that is actually useful and not some copy pasta. And the other, just really having like the right Sybil tools in place, yeah. So when the time comes, actually having that. And then, if I may, one last thing is actually having like a post plan, because a lot of the things that go to market then don't really have like, you know, and I don't want to blame the teams, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into it a lot, and it's just a really ruthless industry as well. It looks like it's all fun and games, but I can assure you it's pretty stressful for everyone who's working here. So, yeah.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, of course.
Like, I would actually blame the founders. You cannot open a business and not have a plan post TGE. Like, this is, I don't even know how to call this.
Yeah, fair.
That was a founder, yeah. I mean, fair enough. Price goes up, you're a genius. Price goes down.
You can't take a mental health break after TGE, so come on.
No, but I have a follow-up question as well to add. And, you know, again, we have highlighted the enemies. We have highlighted also like some good strategies that you applied in your career and your path with Galxe. What do you think like everyone needs to move forward? Like you highlighted also the misunderstanding, really, in my opinion. So like, what do you think is needed as a community builder, right? And community builder to community builder, like what we need to move forward as a space, right? Like good practices or different mentality or whatever. But yeah.
I mean, all of those things, yeah, would be like common sense.
First of all.
I don't want to sound pedantic, but obviously I think like most of the situations that we're in, it's because of the genuine product that we're going to market with. And if you think about like startups in general, the analogy of like 9 to 10 fail, like that's something to also keep in mind. And then if you add the sort of hyper financialization aspect of crypto and the token and everything, that probably has even less chance of succeeding. So, but hey, like look at the fews that make it. They're like the top protocols, the top projects, and you know, all the power to them. But there's also, I think, you know, the reality that unfortunately we won't all be here with like a successful project. You know, it's just the game.
Yeah, and then no, and it's brutal out there. No, but that's a beautiful answer, to be honest. Thank you so much for taking my tough questions. And before moving to the next segment, the last segment, Fifi, I also have a question for you, because we are here in real life event, and you yesterday cooked the Pudgy Penguins with Bera Chain, the event. How important are those events to you? Like, and what do you think like is the role of this event within building a community and a culture, like bringing people together? Because we all like stand in front of a screen for hours and hours and hours, right? You can tell how like from how I sit. But when you go in real life, like there is something else. Like at least for me, there is like a completely different vibe or feeling, right? Besides listening to me from the other side, which may not be the best thing ever, but what do you think is the role of in real life events, being one of the best organizer for the Pudgy Europe community?
Yeah, I think there are different type of events that you can organize. Some will be more like community focused, you know, holders only, to just meet maybe 20 at a time, you know. And events like last night, which are more about, you know, opening up, organizing things with other companies, like you mentioned Verachin, but we also had WeX with us, and it's important to, you know, give an open door for not just the ETH communities, but the whole crypto community. And I would even say School of Pudgy Penguins, the normal community of people, because crypto is intimidating, and when it comes to just like trying to research, to meet people in the space, it's not always easy online, and these events are, let's just say it, the easiest, best way to get someone, especially if you're talking, okay, come to this event, it's crypto, but it's actually penguins, and they do a lot of stuff. You're gonna see it's nice. It's welcoming for older people. It's welcoming for women. Things like that have a big impact, and that's how you get these events to work and to be worth it for the companies that take place. Be good for the holders, who will be proud to show their penguins. You know, our community loves doing stickers of their own penguins and sharing them because they feel part of this movement, and it's a great occasion to meet people that you usually talk on crypto Twitter. But it's also great to just invite your family member who doesn't really understand what you're doing online and all this penguin weird shit. And they go to this event and they're like, oh, so it's actually normal, and it's people, and it's like plushies, and it's fun. I want to get into it. I want to hear about the Pengu thing because I think it's growing, and I want to buy it. You know, it's these kind of things that can only happen in real life events when you see the, let's say, the other side, not the crypto Twitter, like, yeah, dark shadows or whatever.
I would also add to that I think especially for smaller accounts, IRL events are extremely nice because you can literally walk up to somebody like Luca, introduce yourself. Having 50-ish followers, nobody cares about that IRL, right? It's about how you present yourself, how you speak to people, and ultimately also having fun IRL, right? You can bond way deeper than just a DM or a couple of comments on the timeline. I've seen you, Kaito, and Fifi, I think 3-4 times in different venues, and this fosters a friendship in one way or another. So I strongly recommend to everybody to attend IRL events.
Yeah. And it adds to an experience, right? That's the thing. It's not just for NFTs, right? Because again, like we are talking about crypto here and companies. And if you create that feeling, that experience, you're gonna double down your attention, first of all. And secondly, you're gonna make people connect with each other, which is the first input that a community should have. I've seen other DeFi, successful DeFi crypto companies making a lot of money just because of this simple principle. Go in real life, don't pitch, but rather connect. And it's something that is powerful. It's something that you can replicate, be it NFT, be it gaming, be it DeFi, be it trading, whatever you want. So thank you so much for that. We still have like around 10, 15 minutes. So I'll go down to Pierre and then to my friend Carlito. And Pierre, I have a question for you because we talked a bit together. And while I was doing research on you, while I was trying to figure out your life and your line of work, and you said something that's really blew my mind. Like you said, community building, building vertically and building horizontally. And I was like, wait, I never saw that. I never put community building into that angle. So I want you to expand on that because we have talked about it. And I really loved the way you have put that. So I rephrase the question, so it's a bit different, but a lot of what you do feels culturally impactful beyond just aesthetics or branding. Do you think crypto projects are starting to understand the importance of building communities horizontally through networks, culture, and shared identity rather than purely vertically through products or companies? And sorry, and I gave you the false start. And do you think this approach could become a stronger long-term positioning model for future crypto brands?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that's the way to go. I think that's a return to the origins of crypto because building a vertical, it's important when you're building a brand. So you have like some guidelines and something that follow. But having a community of shared values, as we said before, forming around what you do, having fun online, spreading misinformation, replying milady, doing all that thing, it's equally as important because that's how the decentralized idea of a community comes through. And that creates, I wouldn't just say stronger, but I will also say more resilient community because it's not like we need a head and without the head, we don't know what to do. It's like we have multiple heads, you know, we know what we're doing, we know who we are, we know what kind of values we share, we know what we're working towards. We're building a dynasty, not something that lasts in a couple of years. So I believe that having this approach is very important, and it's something that more companies should look at. It's a lens that more companies should explore.
I love it, because like you give you literally make me visualize how communities are built, and it does. Like, look, I told you I'm gonna steal this one. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna repeat it on Spaces until it's mine. No, I'm kidding. But it's lovely.
You can have it. It's copylefted.
GG. No, thank you so much, brother. And I want to throw another question as well to Carlito, because we are coming to the end of this panel. By the way, I hope that everyone enjoyed it. Enjoy your time here with us. If you have any question, again, raise your hands. So there is a question there, and before I'm going to go to Carlitos, and then I'm going to go to the question. And just to repeat that, we are not community managers. We are not culture managers sitting on Discord or such. Because there is like this kind of like, I wanted to say this. I know I should have not said that, but there is this like thing of like going to people, oh, you're a community manager. Ah, okay. Like, you're a moderator, which there is nothing wrong with that, by the way. It pays well if done well. So it's something that if you need something, some suggestions, culture, community, go to these guys. Don't be afraid. Ask them whatever. They don't charge, at least I think so. Someone laughed. Who charged that guy there? But Carlitos, before going to the hand, last question for you, final question. You are a KOL. You are an influencer.
I hate that word.
That's what you are. You are an influencer, right? So as KOL, key opinion leader, how do you see the marketing in terms of attention, right? Agencies like crypto companies, etc., on Twitter and also LinkedIn, whatever. Like, how do you think that will move forward, and where it will move forward?
I'm not sure I got your question.
So where we are going, where we are heading with marketing in our space, in the crypto space?
I think it's probably a conglomerate of everything that was spoken here before. So you obviously need to tap into that culture. You need people that are core believers of that culture. And then I would, if I were a marketing agency or a founder, I would enable those people with money, with support, with media, whatever. And we've also seen that the algo basically constantly changes. We've seen that clipping has become something very important. You have worked with Leonardo from Unfungible, the founder's funnel. So I think basically putting the media light on the founder, on the main person, and repurposing all what he writes, where he speaks, into different sections of content and different platforms, I think is the way forward.
I love that. I love also that you doxed me. Yes, I work at a marketing agency, but we never play it wrong. So that's. I'm kidding. Shout out to Leonard Wood. He said authenticity earlier, right? And I know that you talk about that often. I also talked about it like with you so many times. What's the role of it for the future? I think it's because I'm asking this to you, and then we're gonna go to the hand. I'm asking this to you because I think that you are a very authentic crypto content creator, right? You are authentic, and you always like share mindful like insights, etc. So, what kind of like role authenticity plays in that, in your opinion?
I think a very big one, but again, it depends how you build your personal brand, what you want to achieve, if you follow delayed gratification and a long-term goal, or if you want everything instantly and even better yesterday. So all of this determines how you present yourself online, how people treat you online as well. And I hope there was more transparent takes. Like, I have a feeling that a lot of people are afraid online to pinpoint what is wrong. And for whatever reason, I enjoy doing that. So I don't know, I might get suspended, I might get kidnapped one day, I really don't know. But for what it's worth, I enjoy what I do, and I don't want to change myself.
There you are. You're going to get cancelled by Nikita, our dear Nikita. No, but I really appreciate that, brother. And I appreciate you guys all like representing also that authenticity, jumping here, exposing yourself to the crypto people, and really sharing some of your insight that help you also in your career. We're gonna go to the hand. I'm coming there with the mic.
Hi guys, thank you. Do you think the crypto industry is dying in some way? Not because we are in bear market, but because the majority of the projects are a bit garbage, and you know, smart people can move to AI or other things. We don't have that much people building real problem-solving solution, and how you can or incentivize these people building real stuff instead of just doing a quick money scheme or something like this.
By the way, what's your name? If you can present.
Michael.
Michael. Thank you, Michael. Who wants to go first? I'll take it. I talked a lot, so.
I don't think crypto is dying. Of course, it's always been like that. There's always been a lot of BS going on. So it's not just like right now. Of course, there are other growing industries. But I think the use case for crypto is still there. As we discussed, I will keep it in topic. For example, it does enable strong and resilient communities. And there are products that are working. You know, I'm looking, for example, at Hyperliquid or whatever. I mean, DeFi changed the game entirely on Ethereum. So I'm not sure that crypto is dying. I also believe that the market cap of crypto compared to the market cap of other assets like equities rather than commodities, it's very, very tiny. So there is a lot of room for growth.
I would maybe add to that, and I really like the question. I think you're right. Most projects are a scam, are garbage. And part of that is probably to be blamed upon us, right? I think everybody in this room has seen the NFT craze, the meme coin craze. DD was thrown out of the window. Nobody cared about that as long as it made you money. Right now, we're in a space that doesn't make money for a lot of people, so a lot of things are questioned. But we have the Stability Act in the US, we have the MiCA regulations in the European Union, so I do think crypto is here to stay and will evolve, hopefully, further into something good.
I mean, nothing to add specifically, but I guess just going back to the point where as a space and as, you know, there's all this like money and circulating, there's always going to be that aspect. I just don't want to make it frame that it's just crypto, you know? Yeah, obviously there's a lot of that in crypto, but that's where like the kind of media attention is a lot of the time. But if you think about how much other, you know, negative light some of the other things that have been built, not in our space, but there's always like malicious actors. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think in the bright side of crypto, like if you look at like 10 years ago, or I didn't even know like exactly how to send money to my friend, and like now if I want to transact on the blockchain, I can do that. There's just like so immense value, and I think it's true we need to find more use cases, but I think it's grown a lot, and there's a lot of useful products right now that people are using, and you know, you mentioned a few like with Hyperliquid, but a lot of DeFi right now. It's true we need to find more use cases, exactly, but I also think about like it solved a lot of problems, and I think you know, the space has grown a lot, and I think we should also be proud of like what crypto has achieved. I definitely get the question, and it's a hard one to reply to, but I also want to really like advocate for crypto as well in this sense, because it does provide a lot of support in different various ways, and hopefully when some of these things get into place for like other sectors, it will also help a lot.
Hi, can you hear me?
Do we have time for one more question?
Okay, so I have a question about the NFT space. So I want to know, how do you think is changed from the golden era to now, and if we will have a new big project, a new big community like Pudgy or Azuki, or we will have only several small communities, and no, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Present yourself, brother.
What?
Can you say your name?
I'm Alex.
Yeah, I think the fact that we're still talking about NFTs in a general way is not helping getting them in the, let's say, normal, common area, and it's actually so attached with scams and all the wrong shit that happened in the past that we're not going to have a new NFT era, at least in my opinion. But the examples of Pudgy's and others are that NFTs are a very strong way to have your core community organized and just spread culture, since we're talking about culture, in a way that tokens cannot achieve, and that, yeah, I would say NFT should be a second idea, and the core would be the community using ways to just go beyond. And the next big project won't be the same as the ones in the past. There will be a new model, there will be a new way for a founder to find a way to use this technology and present it in a way. Like, I'm not expecting PFPs to come back or digital art to come back in the same way, and that's what's exciting. Each era has brought a new way and leaders, and hopefully to become the new big thing, you have to think outside this box, learn from what has worked, and yeah, just use NFTs for what they can do and not the cool name that it used to be, because it's not cool anymore.
Yeah. No, lovely one. I want to add, and then I'm going to pass the mic to David. First of all, thank you so much, everyone. I will add this, like, my founder, I work at Digitoys. We do digital toys. I'm not shilling. We do digital toys, and they're NFTs, right? But they are like toys in first place. And we are building this app where you can play with these toys, right? And he always says this, like, in the simplest way possible. You play some music on YouTube or whatever, like Spotify, and it's an MP3 file. Nobody of us like tells like no more, oh, I'm listening to MP3. I'm listening to music, right? And I think that NFTs will have that role. But we need to find alignment, and the alignment is far from to be found. Because Pudgy Penguins can make a lot of money outside selling toys and selling merch and selling everything, the empire, the IP that they have, but then they need to align that with the NFTs. But that's another topic. We can talk about this at the bar, because I think that we have the imperative right now. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed that, you can offer a beer to the KOL. If not, you can punch him in the face outside. But outside the place. So thank you so much, guys. One love.